What's up, y'all? I got a banger from It's Complicated. Let's get straight into it.
Do you think a man is less of a man if he can't change a flat tire?
I do think so. Me and my roommates talk about it all the time, and that's one of the qualities we look for in a man, just to know that we can be safe and protected with them.
Shocker.
Is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal from scratch?
No.
Why is there a difference?
Because I don't know
She's even laughing. She knows how crazy she sounds.
how to cook a meal from scratch. So,
What if a man doesn't know how to change a tire?
well, I guess it's okay, but if a man wants a woman who can cook, then they shouldn't date me.
The hypocrisy is so real. These women expect men to be masculine out the box, but then we can't expect any femininity out the box. It's crazy work.
What is a woman?
What is a woman? I think it's someone that is born female.
Someone who was born with female parts.
To me, a woman is somebody that is beautiful inside and out, empowered, and inspires positive change in the world around her.
If a woman is an adult
out of here.
human female, why wouldn't an adult human male be the definition of a man?
Who says it's not a definition of a man?
Nice.
That is the definition of a man, right? Like,
What is the difference between a male and a man?
a male is someone who was born with male parts.
Male is male is male is male. But to me, a man is somebody that is a protector, a provider, and makes you want to be that feminine woman for them.
A man
This is what I don't get. Want to be that feminine woman for them. Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree with this. The problem I have with this is that as men, we are expected to be masculine out the box. From the jump, masculine, provider, protector. You ladies expect that from the very beginning. But us as men, we have to earn your femininity. What? How does that sound masculine when we have to earn your femininity? Shouldn't you come feminine straight out the box? Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree. I think it's BS that men have to earn women's femininity when they don't have to earn our masculinity. It's like, well, baby girl, I just want to wear dresses during the week. I want to look pretty. You want to get close to me? You got to earn my masculinity. You hear how stupid that sounds?
Stupid.
But for them, it makes sense. You got to earn my femininity, bro. This double standard's crazy to me.
man is really someone who's like a developed masculine man who is like born and like developed and grown in society like as a man.
Well,
I
why,
agree with that take. A male is somebody who's born just, with the right chromosomes. A man is someone who's made. I get that.
why are there more burdens placed on a man to begin with?
Because that's how God designed us.
Hey,
I come from a religious standpoint
based, bro.
on it, so I think that girls are more emotional, right? So our role is to nurture and be there, while men are supposed to be the providers and work.
I think that depends on who you talk to, because you could say that there's burdens placed on women also.
What does masculinity look like if you're not religious, traditional, or conservative?
I feel that, like, if you're chivalrous, if you are a problem solver, for me as a woman, sometimes if I get overwhelmed, I just want my man to take over and be like, oh, thank God you helped me.
Now, on the other side of that, if she wants a man to be able to solve all of her problems, what on the other side of that do we get as men? Put what you think in the chat. Personally, for me, I think it's peace and quiet. Just hush it. Hush. Zip it. Give me some peace. Let me do something in my nothing box. That would be the male equivalent. Just be quiet.
Or if I feel like a man is someone that can help me figure out problems or help me through my day if, I'm ever feeling that I get stuck. So just someone that can...
Isn't it funny, though? And maybe I'm off base here, chat, so, let me know in the comments if you agree. It's funny how women, what they want from men is to be helped, but most of the time what men want from women is to be left alone. Maybe just give me some space, leave me alone, let me hang out with the boy. You know what I mean? Isn't it funny how that works?
Help me a little bit.
Why are men defined by their role while women are defined by their existence?
I think women are also defined by their role. It depends on who you ask. There's a lot of societal pressure, especially now in the day and age of social media. I myself often find comparing myself to others on social media. So
that's why I always say comparison is the thief of joy. Do not compare your everyday mundane lives to other people's highlight reels.
I think it goes both ways. It just depends on who you ask.
women introduce themselves to me, they'll say hi and we'll talk about it. And then it's like, oh, are you a mom? Or what do you do for your job? And so it's like, what is your role? Not just merely existing. So I think we get a lot of that too.
Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree with this. My philosophy on why people ask you what you do for a living is so they can see how much they should respect you. You meet somebody, they say you're a lawyer, or hey, I'm a lawyer. They're already going to put you in a bucket of, oh, this person is educated. He's probably went to college. He's passed a lot of exams. He's in a leadership role and he probably makes a lot of money. Versus somebody that's like, well, I'm a landscaper. I just cut grass. Like, they're going to have a different ideology on who you are and how much to respect you based on what you do. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. But I believe that's why people ask you that question, so they can see how much they should respect you.
Do you think that men get joy and gratitude out of serving women even if women don't reciprocate?
Oh, I think it depends on the reason that they're doing it.
A lot of men that
I don't think men get a lot of value out of serving women, but I think they get a lot out of providing for women. Do you agree with that, chat?
I meet in my life, and maybe it's like a demographic thing, but I think men get satisfaction by like serving a woman and like leading a woman, and it just really depends on how they're raised though.
Isn't that...
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Wait, what? Serving a woman and leading a woman? Aren't those two opposite things? How can I serve you and lead you? How can I be a simp and be alpha at the same time? This makes no sense. It's what I'm saying. Even the based country women really don't even know what they want.
the definition of a simp?
Exactly.
You're right.
Like everything's clicking. The 3 brain cells she's got all fighting for 4th place. You know what I mean? Like, and she's based. Like, I'm going to give this chick her props. She's based, but even in that, she can't even answer it like coherently and logically. She's like, well, I want him to simp, but I want him to lead. Like, how can we can't do both?
I mean, the definition of a simp is like really like serving, like bowing down to your wife. But I think like masculinity, it goes both ways. However, like it still goes both ways. Like women can still serve men as well. But I think like a masculine man is comfortable.
I love how it's always he's comfortable in his own skin. He's okay doing it. He's secure. Isn't it funny how that always works?
In his own skin to lead a woman.
Isn't that the definition of a simp?
Maybe, but we like simps.
I don't know what a simp is.
Would men still serve women
They got somebody's auntie out here on a couple mimosas. You could tell she a little sauced.
if they knew they would never get that reciprocation?
Would they steal or should they steal?
What do you think?
Well, they should steal.
I bet she makes a mean skits and gravy.
I hope so. I think so.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
Yes, I think that's the right thing.
Oh my God, these Gen Z kids.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So we're just supposed to respect you even if you treat us like dirt? Absolutely not. Would you do that with your friends? This is what I don't get with these modern women especially, is they expect men to be like, not just their friends, but to just bow down to them. Yeah, you can treat me any way you want. It doesn't matter. You couldn't even procure a friend if you treated them like crap all the time. Like, you at least show love to your female friends, but to men, you can just dog them. Oof, this is awful.
To do.
Well, I mean, unless you're beating his ass, then probably not. But if you just drink a little too much and get a little crazy, there's no reason he should be mad at you because you're just having fun. And he needs to get a better personality.
Isn't it funny how it's always a man's fault? Accountability has left the chat. It's never a woman's fault. A woman never has to take accountability. Always a man has to take accountability for your actions. You being drunk and belligerent, that's my fault. I need to have a better personality. What?
Would men still serve women if they knew they would never get that reciprocation?
No.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
No.
No, I wouldn't
Based.
do that based on gender. I think that
This chick right here is super based.
respect is earned regardless of your gender.
How can a man respect women without losing self-respect in the process?
I don't think you lose respect by respecting women. I think a man that respects a woman is more respectable.
What is the difference between a show horse and a plow horse?
Well, a show horse is like me.
Show horse can
Stop the cap.
Honey.
be a performance horse. Plow horse is like a working ranch farm horse.
Why does being physically stronger assign men the role of a plow horse while women are show horses on display?
Women are supposed to be praised and beautiful, and men are supposed to bring home the money.
A show horse is designed to be beautiful and pretty. A plow horse is a stockier build that's
I'll show you a plow horse. You know what time it is, Loki. Do you want some jerky bud? Free. Sit. Wait. Can we get some freeze in the chat? Free. Go to your place. But isn't it funny? I think the overarching theme here, at least for me, the one that sticks out is that men have to earn women's femininity where they don't have to earn a man's masculinity. What is up with that? Why is that such a double standard? And I feel like we hear a lot about this. From the Gen Z girl, she wants a straight up simp. Do not simp, dude, because as soon as you simp, you lose all respect. Women do not respect simps. That's why there's so many nice guys get left in the friend zone. You've been hearing about this stuff since middle school. Nice guys finish last. It's still true to this day, buddy boy.
It's where you're going to run into your drafts. They're comfortable, they're fun, they're cool little show horses.
To be praised and beautiful, and men are supposed to bring home the money.
A show horse is designed to be beautiful and pretty. A plow horse is a stockier build. That's where you're going to run into your drafts. They're comfortable, they're fun, they're cool little gentle giants, but at the end of the day, their job is to pull and push heavy objects, so they're going to have a bigger frame.
Why does being physically stronger assign men the role of a plow horse while women are show horses on display?
I don't think that women are show horses on display.
Stop the cap.
I do like the idea of a man being a plow horse. I think that's quite funny. But women can be strong too. As a matter of fact, I lift 3 days a week at least.
Stop the cap.
And it comes in handy working on a ranch. You have to be able to do things yourself as well. And I don't
Picking up those egg cartons, those 2 gallons of milk. It's tough work.
think it makes a man
No, I'm playing though. Some of these ranch girls be really getting it though.
a workhorse, but I've seen some pretty guys too. So men can be show horses too, I suppose.
Does society shame men more for being strong and masculine, or does it shame men more for being weak?
Nowadays, I feel like strong and masculine is being shamed a lot. I mean, weak is shamed as well, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Shames men more for being weak.
Definitely weak.
Yeah. Weak.
Why do you feel that way?
I think we prefer stronger men. I don't know.
That's what's so funny is they do prefer stronger men, but yet they came up with the phrase toxic masculinity. Make your mind up.
Why do people think that if you're not this macho alpha male, that means you want to put on a dress and wear makeup?
I personally don't think that. I think other people might think that because there's this air of like toughness that represents toughness, and that you somehow have to be more resilient that way.
Society really, really pushes men to be extremely macho, and that's not necessarily.
Stop the cap.
No, they don't. Chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree with my take on this. I feel like they're trying to feminize men. Masculinity is not preached right now. What we have right now in society is a lack of masculinity, a lack of father figures. That's what we have a lack of. We have an abundance of single mothers. We have an abundance of femininity, this equality, this equity of everything. Men understand hierarchies, I feel like, better than women. There's a book that Saint and the Sinner referenced in a Fresh and Fit podcast where boys are left to unstructured play and they form hierarchies, whereas girls, when they're left to unstructured play, they just argue and end the game. Whereas boys can create a hierarchy, have a leader, they squash the beef, and then they have good conflict resolution and they can move on. Women, you guys can't do that. Go watch The Island with Bear Grylls. That's pure proof right there.
It can also be like in a toxic way.
Some of the ones I know are very scrawny, short guys that don't look very hyper masculine. Some of them are very pretty too. Some of them aren't. But to me, they're hyper masculine in the sense that they are the provider. They care about their woman, and their wives are absolutely gorgeous. So you can still get a beautiful woman as long as you're that man.
Like a man should still pursue and lead and like provide for a woman emotionally, not just financially, emotionally. And that's when a man is safe and secure in his own skin. However, I don't necessarily think like society thinks that if they're not necessarily there yet, they need to put on a dress and they're like a little B word.
Can someone be masculine but not a man, or be a man but not masculine?
Depending on your definition of masculinity, yes.
So why is masculinity even applied to men in the first place?
I think gender constructs and what makes us comfortable as a society, not that it makes it right.
I think there's different levels of how masculine a man can be, but that doesn't not make him a man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why is there so much confusion about what a woman is, but everyone seems to know what a real man is?
Because you're asking the women about who a real man is.
Again, I think like cultural constructs of men needing to provide or needing to be in the position of provision.
When you ask a woman what she wants in a man, she's going to define that traditional role, I believe, most of the time.
And what do you think men are going to say? Do you think we're going to say traditional role? Yeah, we're going to say fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive, no kids. But the problem is a lot of you ladies aren't that.
Wrong?
No, I don't think that they do.
It could be mentally strong or physically strong. Even myself, I like to get pretty and dress up, but I also like to go rope and go weld and do masculine things. That doesn't make me more masculine than other girls, or even when I get dressed up more feminine than other girls. That's just who I am, and I think people need to be true to who they are and stick to it, and just, like I said, treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Why don't women shame each other for being weak the same way that men shame each other for being weak?
I think women shame each other for being weak. They just do it in a more backhanded, mean way.
I mean, I think if you just go on social media, how girls compare themselves to each other and tear each other down.
Women don't shame each other for being weak. Women shame each other for being beat. They shame each other for being ugly or big-backed. Big back. Stuff like that.
I think it's pretty equal, yeah.
Or being promiscuous.
Why is it when we talk about women's issues, it's considered the war on women, but when we talk about men's issues, it's considered the war on masculinity?
Because I would argue maybe the men that are struggling with that war the most are having a hard time defining their own masculinity for themselves.
Maybe it's just a social media thing, but guys are getting away from their traditional roles. Back even with my father and seeing him as growing up, he always made sure that my mom knew that if she wanted to work, she could work. If she wanted to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom, which she was, she had that opportunity presented to her as well. Now, with the economy doing what it's doing, it's very hard to see a man that can step into that role completely and provide for not just himself and the household, but also a partner and children.
Yeah, that part. I'm glad she was based enough on that right there. I agree with that. It is so hard right now for a man to go out there and be able to work a job. Like, let's say they work at a factory and provide for a house of him and 3 kids. Like, it's almost impossible. You have to be making $200,000 to $300,000 per year to be able to buy a home, have a vehicle, buy groceries, send your kids to school, gas, and everything that encompasses having a family. And then that's just maybe one vacation a year. Where back in the day, you know, your grandfather could be the freaking mailman and afford a big dank house and go on 2 vacations a year. But like nowadays, that's not the case. Unless you have a highly specialized career or you're in a highly specialized trade where you can make a lot of money for knowing one specific thing, more than likely it's going to be really tough for you to go out in the market and make a ton of money. Chat, let me know what you guys do in the comments right now. And then if you don't mind, share how much you make per year annually. I'd love to do a case study here just to kind of see what you guys do versus how much you make. And then even if you want to add on how much you work, is it 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week? Because nowadays, if men do want to make a lot of money, they have to work 40 to 60 hours a week. But you got to think about the flip side of that. If they're spending all this time working, how are they going to be spending a lot of time with the family? Newsflash, they're not going to be able to, because they're always going to be working. So if a man wants to make a lot of money, he sacrifices his time. And so, but women, it seems like, in chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree with this, it seems like women want your time, but they also want your money. But the thing is if a man's going to go out there and earn a lot of money, he's not going to have a lot of extra time to spend with you. But ladies, if you want a guy that can spend a lot of time with you, don't expect him to make a lot of money, because most of the time, at least right now, with most people, they trade time for money. If you do that forever, you're always going to be broke. Figure out a way where you can make passive income. That's on a side note though. But ladies, if you want a guy to make a lot of money, don't expect to get a lot of his time. If you want a lot of his time, don't expect him to make a lot of money. Chat, do you agree with that? So nowadays, more than ever, it's so important, in my opinion, to be a master of one versus a jack of all trades. Like back in the day, my grandfather was a milkman. He delivered milk. He was able to provide for my grandmother. Now, my grandmother was a nurse until I think she was in her 40s, but it was kind of the same philosophy that chick just explained, where she's like, my grandmother had the option to work. She didn't have the obligation to work. That's a big difference. Option versus obligation. She wasn't responsible for a significant portion of the financial load of the family. It just wasn't a thing. My grandfather provided for all that. But nowadays, it's really hard for men to go out there and make $180,000, $220,000 a year and provide for an entire family, but my grandfather could do it being a freaking milkman. He delivered milk. Now, if you're a Frito-Lay truck driver, I guess that's the closest thing, or maybe you work for Borden and you deliver milk. That's the closest comparison you can make right now. Those guys aren't making $180,000 to $200,000 a year. My grandfather was able to buy a home and have 4 kids while my grandma stayed at home. And they had a dank house, big brick house, 4-bedroom house, had a hot tub in the back. He was able to invest in real estate. He was able to buy classic cars. Like, my grandpa lived the good life being a milkman. Nowadays, you're a Frito-Lay truck driver. Let's just look it up. Let's say you were a milk delivery truck driver salary. Let's just look it up right now. $42,000 a year, $20 an hour. You're telling me you could support a family with that right there? There's no way.
Stop the cap.
You can't support a family of 4 with that. Top earners make $68,000 a year. Bro, that's not enough. But back in the day, houses were $12,000, and what you made a year was $12,000. Now, houses are $500,000, and people are barely making even $100,000 a year. Inflation has absolutely crushed our generation, the millennials, and I feel really bad for the Gen Z kids because it's going to be really hard for them to keep up this generational wealth. But chat, put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. It's just times have gotten much harder. So now here's what me and Cass made a decision a couple years ago. We said, instead of focusing on saving money, why don't we focus on just making money? Because my mom's generation was like, we'll save. And then they're going to have to work even after 65 because you save $1 today, next year it's worth 96 cents. The year later it's worth 92 cents. It just goes down and down. It depreciates in value. Whereas if you can get really good at making money, you'll always be good because the economy is just going to always inflate. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Loki, did you have a good time? Loki, all the way on your place. All the way on your place. He just has to touch the ground. Look at him. He's just such a rule breaker. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow, man. Peace.